Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Matified server. Can you guess what we're going to be doing in today's episode? Can you guess? Am I giving you a little hint right now? I think I am. We're going to be doing some redstone at last. You know what? I was crafting up some repeaters and I was thinking, are these the first repeaters that I've crafted? No, they're not. Of course we've got the fishing farm which is hidden over there underground, but since then I really haven't done any redstone so far on the Hermitcraft server, and today is that day where we get to start a redstone project. There's something that needs doing at the entrance of our base, and I've been working on it, and I've got something to show you right here. So, you know, we need an entrance. I also need to remove that chest, and you can see, look there, there's some glass now, and there's some tripwire hooks. What's this? Of course, we're going to walk over here, and probably not what you expected, right? And then it gets pushed back down again. Yeah. This is my plan to build an entrance here, but as you saw there, it didn't quite work as you might have expected. So we got a load of glass here, and then we got pistons at the top and at the bottom. So if we press these ones, they get pushed up on either side. Now I couldn't figure out a way to power all three of these pistons without having exposed redstone like right here, which I didn't really want. So I decided to just have, you know, a piston on either side push up. It would sort of be a little bit of a trick. You know, it looks like it all opens, but it doesn't, but you can still get through. And you know what? It sucks. It's not very good, is it? I'm not really a fan of that at all. And thank goodness I was doing this redstone on my plot world, because some people helped out and suggested using gravel down at the bottom. Now if we put gravel at the bottom here, not only do we remove the texture of the pistons on the ground, we can in a way sort of push up a little bit further, because, well, no, we can't push up further, but it's easier to power the pistons because the gravel's going to sort of like add a little bit of space, so these can be lower down, because once they've gone up, the gravel blocks are going to fall back down again, and gravel happens to look good next to stone and will work out just fine there. So this is the redstone that we got. I'm now going to remove this so you can see exactly what's going on. It's a pretty straightforward setup, and those blocks are activating the tripwire for the bit up top. So we have, you know, we can power it here like this to push up those two pistons. We've got a 2-tick pulse here that's being created by this sticky piston, you know, with the block on. If you haven't seen this before, I mean, you need to learn the basics. This is used a lot in redstone. But anyway, it goes through, it powers the pistons at the bottom, then it goes into this block which has a redstone torch. So this can then power the piston that will be alongside, because this one's pushed up. And then there is a repeater behind either side of those sticky piston blocks, so that it powers this bit of redstone as well. Now this is important because these ones get powered first, then these get powered second, but when these unpower, these ones at the bottom will unpower after because of this bit of redstone, and that means it can pull the whole thing back down. You see that? You see that? Does it all make sense now? Probably not. Anyway, that's what's going on with that bit. Then we have a tripwire here to set off the bit at the top. Let's see that in action. It just pushes the pistons down, and that was, you know, a lot more simpler to do. I'm just thinking now, how do we get up there? I think I have to climb around this side on these ladders. And a cool thing here is that the glass goes up further than it needs to go, but that's good because, oh, how am I going to get on top of this? Because it means we can put the sticky pistons up here further up, and it just makes it a little easier for us to put in the redstone back here. So we have, again, a sticky piston underneath here to create a smaller pulse. We've got a 2-tick pulse which powers the redstone at the bottom. That's the second set of repeaters, and the ones at the top. But these ones get activated first. So again, these get activated first, they push downwards. The second ones get activated, and then this second line of redstone comes through here on a bit more delay, and that means that this stays powered for longer. So when it unpowers, it pulls the pistons back up, because it is, of course, a sticky piston. You see, it doesn't actually do that, does it? Wait, what's going on here? All it ever needed to do was push down. That second bit of circuit is actually useless. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, as I said, someone came up with a fantastic solution for us. We're going to have some gravel here. So all of this is going to get lowered down. I'm going to rewire the redstone. We're going to have this thing free wide and ready to go, and I'm going to fix that bit up there as well, because I've now realised all that needs to be is 2 sets of normal pistons. There doesn't need to be any fancy wiring there, because once it's pushed back down, it just stays like it is there. So anyway, let's get that wired up and have a look at it all. So I'm doing this just a little bit different than I did on the plot world. I had the smart idea of using the slabs to bring the redstone up here, and then having a longer tick down below so that these should stay extended for longer, meaning they pull down the pistons up above. So here's what happens when we do that. The gravel flies out from side to side. Now I've got an idea as to what's going on there. I think it's probably not a 1.9 bug, but it could be. I reckon the way that they're getting retracted means that the gravel sort of lands on the piston block when it's sort of extended or halfway between. And it's like when gravel drops on a torch. If you haven't seen this before, I'm sure all of you have. You're all Minecraft experts. You know your stuff. Bam. Pops out like that. And I reckon that's what's going on here. But anyway, let's see that one more time because that was just really odd. Much to my surprise, if we set these all to 1 tick, everything here gets activated at the same time, but that's actually good enough. Or did a piston just disappear? I think wait, what? No, the piston is still there. What happened? This is very odd. And now I've successfully managed to pull the gravel through the pistons. Now when pistons get activated in 1.9, they actually disappear for a tick, and I think I might have just got the timing so that it disappeared for that tick, and somehow these pistons got pushed up here. I'm just trying all sorts of combinations. That was 1 tick here, 4 there, and 1 up the top again. So I think we need to sort of try something a little bit different from what we're doing here now, because that didn't work. So something I was going to mention is that I wanted to change this glowstone and trapdoor setup. I've just noticed that that activates it on either side as well, so we're definitely changing that. Another reason to change this is because I want to get rid of a block at this height so we can have the tripwire hooks a little bit further back. As you saw when we were recording earlier on, you have to sort of walk right up to it and then wait for it for a second. So we'll probably move this back to here, which means it won't be as visible. And the string itself is pretty much invisible anyway, so that should make it a lot more discreet for the entrance. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to use this as an exit as well, right? So what we should do is add another tripwire after this one over here that activates the ones at the top. So when you walk through this way, they'll get activated first, but then this will go up after, and then when you're going out, you'll activate one then the other. And later on, if I feel like it, I can actually add a circuit to detect which order they're being activated in and then pick the right one to activate, which would be a cool thing to do later on. But for now, we're just going to do the basics. And also, over here, had this idea to put in a piston, and you know what? Sometimes you've got to use pistons to place pistons, because digging down and placing one facing downwards into that little space would have been really annoying. So of course you can use the pistons to just push them down like this, and I think that's going to look good. I was going to put yellow glass there, can you believe it, because I thought it might match this, but actually I like the pistons. It's a little bit industrial and it looks good next to the andesite. However, I might have to change that block right there as well. I don't know, something odd about that. Now how would we go about placing this in? I think we would just have to have it. Oh dear, no, we can't see it. So somewhere here is probably where that block is. And yeah, there it is. So we're just going to slap that there. I'll come around and tidy this up in a second. Yes, that looks great. We're going to do that across the whole way here. So we're going to move on now from all the redstone. We've done enough of that for this episode. There's more to be done here, but I want to work on the room that follows this entrance. Now, as for this bit right here, you can clearly see I put some enchanting tables in the ground. I love the way that the book sort of follows you as you walk past, but unfortunately that doesn't really look too good, so we'll probably revert that to how it was before. So anyway, walking up to this thing, you can see it opens just in time for us to pop through. I could have swore that was a little bit faster, and it's not now. I've got a feeling I changed something down here. There you go. Because I was trying to wire this up with tripwire and string on the other side so that when you walked through here it would close behind you. But I found that that was actually really finicky, and what we definitely need at this point is a way to detect which of the tripwires you've sort of activated first. So I don't know how I'll do that, but I'll figure that out at another time, because when you walk back this way, as you saw just there, it doesn't always work, and that could be because of the speed I'm approaching it at. So again, walking back like this, that time it closed. So we definitely need another little redstone contraption there. And for now what I'm going to do is just put a button on the wall on this side to open and close it, like one on either side, and that'll do temporarily. So now we can focus on this room right here. It's going to have a few things. We're going to have a window in this wall over here. We're going to have a furnace array probably some chests or some other things in here as well, like for storage of items that won't be in our sorting system, and some staircases to get up above as well. Lots of things. I'm going to start work on it. And, oh yeah, if you're wondering what this is, by the way, I've got a bit of a staircase here. This is how I got the wire up the top. I used a piston pushing up a block. So that redstone block creates a signal, which also actually powers the piston up there. So when this gets activated, it sends a signal and resets itself, which is pretty cool. Wow, that is quite something to look at the moment, isn't it? I am working on the roof design for all of this, and it kind of looks awful, but it's going to look great when it's done. And all of this right here, this temporary scaffolding, is ever so helpful. This is such an awkward build, you know. In creative, you can fly around, slap blocks wherever you like. In survival, you're forever sort of positioning yourself and fidgeting about, it feels like. So anyway, let's talk about this roof. There are a few different materials I used to design this, which I want to show you after this is finished, just because they all kind of looked good, but I decided to go with these slabs. In the end, they're the ones that get changed, and we're going to bring some acacia into this room again, and another colour when we've done this bit. But anyway, this is like the centrepiece of the roof, and it's going to sort of droop down into each of the corners. These two corners right here are pretty much finished. There'll be a wall behind them to sort of solidify it, and at the moment you can see there's these gaps with torches, right? And that's because every so often, like that'll be a gap, and that one there's these gaps, and what I want to do is put sea lanterns in them, but of course I'm quite limited on that because it's based on how much we can dismantle of the ocean monument over there. So we'll throw in those as we go along. And man, this is just taking me such a long time. But this thing right here has been really, really helpful. This is all acacia. And I got the leaves from outside where I've set up a temporary farm for acacia wood. And it looks crazy. I love it when you like put loads of saplings next to each other and they just make walls of tree. It looks really cool. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with building that. Oh man, and a creeper on the roof. I actually got creepered while I was up on the roof, and it blew up all of the clay, and I had to rebuild it. But it's all fixed now, so no worries. So it is done, I do believe, and now we have the pleasure of removing this temporary scaffolding, or at least part of it, and dropping down below and having a look up for the first time. You can't really see where it's going just yet. You really can't. There is so much more to this. But we're going to need some blocks from the ocean monument, so I guess we should probably head over there. You know what, it's actually missing a couple of logs. We need ones in these gaps here, which is why it looks so open just there. So it's good to know that makes a big difference. I think there's even another log behind that one as well, so it goes as far back over there. If we actually like step all the way back and look directly up, you can see that there is this one block gap here. That is deliberate because we're going to have a wall. We've got the same gap here. We're going to have a wall with a window in. And over here, I think it's very, very close, but it will end up tying up with the entrance here. And over on this side, I think there's a fair bit more of a gap. And one thing I want to point out is the center of this doesn't line up with our storage, which is something I'm not too bothered about, actually. That doesn't bother me at all. So anyway, over to the ocean monument we go. I love this nether portal system. You know, nether portals are terrific for getting around. Even though it's so close, I could hop down into a boat and swim over here, and we can get there a lot quicker with this, of course. So what we need is 25 sea lanterns. I have one, and over 2 stacks, probably by not much more than about 20 blocks of dark prismarine. So we got a fair few blocks to gather here. Now the dark prismarine is going to be a little bit tricky to pick up. That stuff isn't so abundant in here. If we pop down though, we might nothing. The farm has yet to yield anything. I am not surprised. When we're over here, we've been very close to it. And when we're over at our base, this is very far. Remember, the water here is competing with all of the water around this temple. So it's not until we start removing more chunks of it that we actually get what we want. So anyway, looking at this area right here, it looks like dark prismarine is to be found on the inside a little bit more frequently than the outside. We can't do that. I'm going to put that back then. We have to find bits that we can take it from without, dismantling the walls and letting all the water in. And so this bit over here might be good because I think behind here there's going to be, a whole area with water. Alright, so we'll clear out this bit. We'll gather that dark prismarine. Where are the rest of the sea lanterns though? I don't think there's too many more of them. We might be really hard pressed to get all of the sea lanterns that we need. Obviously there's 3 up there. There's a few more on that side. We are definitely going to pinch those. And hopefully there'll be some other ones in this building somewhere. So I think I just found something amazing. And where are we in relation to everything? Okay, so the portal seems to extend a fair way back in this direction, which I wasn't expecting. Over on the right here, there is like a big area that I haven't been able to... Oh, there's lots of dark prismarine there as well. Yeah, haven't been able to get in there. And then up here, what do I see but tons, I mean tons of sponges. This is another sponge room. This one has had 2 sponge rooms because, of course, me and Ren found one of those, and that is fantastic. So I am taking these. These are going to help so much with the removal of all of this water. And if you didn't notice it down there, there were some more sea lanterns. So we are slowly getting all of the goods we need to finish off our build. So we're going to be good on sea lanterns. I've cleared out this area back here. And when I remove some of these blocks, you can see that the rooms down there have got loads of sea lanterns in, which is great. And over on this side, though, we're running to a bit of another problem at the moment. And where I'm clearing out lots of this area, it's really going through my pick. However, my armor here takes a fair bit of damage as well. So when we get XP, that takes some of it because of mending. And it's because we keep having to fight these guys. Now, if you go up to them close in the water and give them a hug, they'll retract their thorns so they don't damage you in return. But they keep getting pushed out of the rooms into these little areas, and they're a real pain. They're hard to hit with the bow at this point, which you won't get the damage in return, although that was a good shot. And another one. However, if you hit them with the sword and go close, you can't get them to retract their spikes, which is really annoying. It just makes all of this ever so slow. And I think actually I should probably be a little bit more patient and try and clear them out with a bow here. Right, here we go. We have our sea lanterns. I've been through the portal to another part of the overworld in the hope of getting rid of some of these guardians. They have gone. That is fantastic. A moment ago, this room right here was absolutely full to the brim of them. I almost died. I had about 100 of those beams on me all at once. And we want to be in this room because that's where some of the dark prismarine is. The problem is there's so much water in here, it's very difficult to actually get rid of it. You have to sort of section off the room because when you put down a sponge, you know, it just sort of regenerates from the other bits around there. So that's why I'm placing all of these blocks. And I think we're stumbling now upon the last of the dark prismarine we're going to find in this temple, and it sort of doesn't look like it's enough. So I'm hoping that it'll be just enough to make sense in our base for the time being. So there we go, a section cleared out, and I'd like to actually see how difficult it is to clear this out with sponges. I've got 41 here. Let's have a go at spamming it, because this water's going to regenerate real quickly. There's probably going to be a good strategy to this, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to put 2 there, so that top bit is sort of closed off, and actually, it looks like you might be able to get away with spamming it, which I couldn't do before, because this place was full of guardians. Right, let's keep plopping them down quicker than they can regenerate, which I feel like we're not doing. This is a little bit on the hectic side, really, isn't it? Okay, we have definitely made a difference in here. There you go. It's not so bad, is it? So spamming sponges worked. I should have done that all along. It's quite interesting to be up here putting in the sea lanterns. You can see it is ever so tight to the ceiling, or the roof even. This is the ceiling, that's the roof. I sometimes get those the wrong way around. And if I didn't mention it earlier, these yellow walls are actually placeholder for gold blocks, which I don't really have at the moment. Would have been nice to have got those from the ocean monument, but someone already went in there and grabbed those. So we're going to have 3 blocks like this, and then diagonal and down from this one is where the other one goes. So right there on that side, and I do believe right there on that side, and then there's going to be other pillars of wood that go down, and that will match up against the wall, which is sort of this space right here, I think. Or actually, no, let's go back a little bit further. I need to investigate that. That doesn't look quite right. But anyway, I think there is one sea lantern that goes on the roof here, like where the roof actually is, there needs to be a sea lantern. There's also going to be one right over here in the corner, and I think that's pretty much all of them placed except the ones in this space, which is going to be really difficult to get to, because look how tight and compact it all is right here. And as I said, I think one of them is literally going to go where the roof is, so we'll probably end up like replacing 1 or 2 blocks, and then over here on this side it will actually be a little bit different, but it's, you know, it's the roof. It's one of those things you'll never notice. So this place is getting more and more amazing. I love this acacia wood thing coming down with the spruce slabs, man. It looks so good, and there is that dark prismarine in place here. It looks great. There is a gap in the wall, by the way, because I want a reason to add a little bit more depth to it, and there's a bit of space back there. So maybe that becomes something. And yeah, just throwing in stone bricks and andesite and cracked stone bricks. It is a little bit flat, but that's kind of all the space that we got to work with at the moment. So yeah, just really happy how this is coming together. Look at the entrance right there. It's good. I feel maybe a bit too much acacia, but could always modify things. And yeah, this thing is off center, by the way. Let's stand right here. And oh yeah, I put in all the sea lanterns. You saw that. Oh, they're not going to be sea lanterns there. They're actually going to be gold blocks eventually in those gaps. Anyway, standing here, you can see we're not centered with this bit over here. And at the time I thought, or maybe I didn't really even think about it, that it just couldn't be centered. But I realized when chatting to some of the builders on the server that if this thing was like 1 block smaller in each direction, right, then it means that it could fit into this space and we could move it over by 1 block to here, and then that wall would still be up against that, and then it would have been centralized. So, you know, that could be a little bit of a pet peeve, and I'm not going to let it be like that. What I want to do is get away from the symmetry and all of that stuff and try and make it work in our favour. So, somewhere around here, we should have some slabs. Of course, because I'm recording, I can't just grab the right ones. I want some spruce slabs. I think we're going to have to craft them. That's dark oak. I'll tell you what, we'll do it with these oak ones for now. So, over on this side, at some point, I'm going to look at working in a little bit of a staircase that goes up for the area up top. So it's going to probably start at this height and go like this. And then what we're going to do is push this wall out a little bit further and have this thing organically sort of wrap around the side. So as you come up, you go up and you move over to the side a bit. And then we'll have something going underneath to support it. And we'll use that to sort of shift this area of the room across a little bit, if that makes sense. And just line this up a little bit better. So we're not going to have something completely even on this side. And I've been talking, haven't I? So at this point, this wall's done, that one's done. This one's going to be different because, you know, of this staircase, so we're not going to be doing that today. We've just got the one left to do, and this one is also going to be different because I want to build a big window here. So let's get these leaf blocks out of the way and see what we can do. So I'm telling you now, I see it more than ever, the error of our ways. But this is about, you know, making mistakes and learning from them. I'm not fussed that I've made a pretty big mistake here. You can see this isn't lined up with this bit here. And it's not really been too much of a problem in my mind until we got to this window. And I realised that it means that it's not lined up properly on the outside as well. So if I just stand here, it's quite noticeable because of these bits. Now my plan is to remove these parts up here which are like the sides over there with the windows and make this whole facade a little bit different, which is the last thing we're going to be doing in this video. And I think in order to make this look like it's in the center, what I might do is move this beam over a couple of blocks, because then it will be in line with this one right here and it might not look so terrible. It also might look really odd from over here, but the thing is, you never get too close to notice all of those details, and from afar you'll probably spot that this is over by a block in that direction. Now, that'll be fine. I'll figure that out. We'll get that done. I've got some glass here already. But in terms of how that would have affected the inside to have this lined up properly, it would have meant that all of our walls would have been in by one. And I really can't do anything over here that's in the wall. Like I was talking about having a furnace set up. And if it was in by one, possibly we could have hidden some hoppers and redstone behind it to control it. With a little bit of space that's back there. So it has limited our options. I still don't know how we're going to do the floor or decorate this room. But I think that a furnace array is probably going to be snugged into this area right here with the staircase going over the top of it. And then that way it'll throw off the entrance to this area as a diagonal. So we'll probably walk into it like this, and hopefully that will remove the whole indifferent symmetry that we've got going on here. But anyway, you know, I've done as much as I can this episode. I have plans to do more. I think this roof turned out incredible and amazing, and I did say I'd show you it with some different colours, which I still plan on doing. So we'll finish up this wall, and then we'll have a look at the roof with some different materials. You know what? I just don't know where this is going at the moment, and man, the roof throws it off from the centre, doesn't it? It makes it look a little bit odd, but we've gone this far. I feel like maybe another colour thrown in at the top might make it work. Probably remove that bit in the middle there, and we might have ourselves a design. I'm not so sure about this. I'm annoyed. I said I wouldn't get annoyed, and I probably won't be once we're moving on to another part of the base and this is all finished. But yeah, it's just, it could have gone a little bit smoother. Anyway, I'm not so sure how I feel about this, but now we're going to go over to play.xisumavoid.com and we're going to check out what the roof looks like with a couple of other materials. So the lighting is a little bit moodier in here, and this won't take us long because I'm not going to replace all of the materials. Well, actually, I realised I don't have the one thing that I was going to show you. We've got the stone slabs there. That looks great. We also got birch, which I think equally looks good. And I did have birch sort of going around the middle here, which looked best in this big ring. As you can see, it's very light and it works well with the gold back there, but apparently I changed that to spruce. The other thing we had also tried was oak. This was the original thing to have oak right here, and that also looked really good, but the reason I decided to go with the slabs is because obviously they complement the andesite well, not that the oak doesn't, but we've already got this texture. We've already got this texture, not the colour, just the wooden planks, and it needs to be broken up a little bit more. So I'm very glad that we chose the stone slabs. They look really good. So that is going to be it from me this one, and I must remind you that I do believe tomorrow, the 27th, is the day I'm talking about. This video should come out on the 26th, is the live stream day. So twitch.tv/hermitcraft_ is the place to go and watch that. Obviously hermitcraft.com/livestream for all of the info. And let me know with a comment down below what you think about the outside area, what you think about the inside area, which I absolutely love. I know you guys are going to love it. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. As always, thank you so much for your support on these videos. Hope you're enjoying Hermitcraft Season 4, correction. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.